In the world of Naruto, kekkei genkai are among the most desired abilities in the entire series. Entire wars have been fought with the goal of capturing kekkei genkai from the other villages. During the peace talks that took place between the Cloud Village and the Leaf Village after the Third Great Ninja War, Hinata's own Byakugan was almost stolen due to the Raikage's insistence on getting the Byakugan for the Cloud Village. It's for that reason, kekkei genkai are treasured assets of each village, where you have some of the clans going as far as the Hyuga clan as placing seals on the clan members to prevent kekkei genkai from going outside of the clan. However, what if I told you that for a brief period of time, Naruto briefly gained the powers of the Byakugan despite not being a Hyuga clan member himself? Well, in today's edition of Naruto Retsuden, we're going to look at a moment where Naruto briefly gained access to the Byakugan's powers, as well as the circumstances behind why it happened and why this ultimately became one of my favorite scenes out the entire Naruto franchise. As previously stated, this information is given to us in the Naruto Retsuden story, Naruto Retsuden and the Seventh Hokage and the Spiral of Destiny, which is set in the Boruto era. In the scene I'm going to share with you guys, Naruto's just returned home after sleeping in the Hokage office after his rather tense situation the night prior, where Naruto sat on top of the Hokage monument face of Minato and began reflecting on his own mortality and how much he wished he could show this world that he created to his mother and his father, a world where they could see their grandchildren live in a village without having any worry or fear of being invaded by another village. During this time, the very same illness that Hagoromo battled near the end of his life began to affect Naruto with heart attack-like symptoms that caused him to fall from the Hokage monument in the dead of the night, blacking out briefly only to be brought back from unconsciousness from the shockwaves of the pain inside of his body and Kurama warning him not to use any more chakra. Despite Sakura warning him to tell Hinata the truth, that Naruto had the same condition as Hagoromo and that they were working on a treatment for him, with Kakashi and Sasuke and Sakura traveling to the land where Hagoromo once lived to find a cure for Naruto, Naruto chose to stay inside the Hokage office, suffering throughout the night because he believed it would be wrong to tell Hinata the truth when he didn't know for certain that this would be a fatal situation, because in Naruto's mind, Hinata had already done a lot for him and he didn't want to worry her unless he absolutely had to. However, that leads us to the moment where Naruto briefly gains the powers of the Byakugan. When Naruto returns home, in a comedic fashion, he sees Orochimaru playing with Himawari inside of his house, drinking tea that Hinata made for him, and Orochimaru flat out tells Naruto that he's using him as a test subject right when Hinata walks out of the house, after insisting that Naruto speak to Orochimaru, which that's going to be very important later on. So Orochimaru, being the mad scientist that he is, had managed to take Katasuke's ninja weapon tech blueprints and create a set of goggles that, when activated, can transfer the powers of the Byakugan to the person that's wearing them, something that not even Katasuke's entire department was able to figure out how to do, because Orochimaru's goggles can flat out lift the dojutsu from a person for a period of time, which shouldn't shock anybody who remembers how the man created Shin Uchiha and 100 million Mangekyo Sharingans for those clones. Essentially, with the help of Hinata, in particular her Byakugan, Orochimaru finishes the goggles and hands them over to Naruto, who uses the goggles for the first time and is blown away with experiencing the Byakugan's near 360-degree vision, but due to him not being trained to handle the kekkei genkai, it's a bit of a sensory overload. So with the scene and the context finally being set, it's here I'm going to begin reading the scene from the novel, and then I'm going to come back and explain to you guys why you as a Naruto fan should absolutely love what you're seeing right here. So it's here, I quote, "What do you need to talk to me about?" Naruto asked, bewildered, sitting up straight. He recently loosened up on his vigilance, but Orochimaru was a man who could calmly pull off some wicked act for no reason. He didn't come here for the purpose of just leisurely tea party in his living room. Could you not be so vigilant? I came here because I thought I could lend you something beneficial. Orochimaru spoke as he put his hand into the cuff of his kimono. Rustling around, he pulled out the goggles from within his fabric. "What is that?" Naruto asked. "My latest invention. These goggles can house other people's jutsu," Orochimaru said. "Other people's jutsu? They can house jutsu?" Naruto fluttered his eyelids. In the last couple of years, the technique of separating ninjutsu from the caster has rapidly developed. The pioneer in this field was Katasuke, the inventor of the scientific ninja weapon tool. However, the use of kekkei genkai was said to have been very difficult to reproduce, almost impossible to wield with ordinary shinobi, unless it was used in the form of a scientific ninja weapon tool. Upon receiving the goggles, Naruto stared at them intently. Like, the scientific tool can be used by ordinary people who don't use chakra, right? Yes. Well, yes, the function of these goggles have nothing to do with the wearer's chakra. I just had your wife help me set up his Byakugan abilities, Orochimaru said. Byakugan? Naruto asked. Naruto stared in surprise, Orochimaru's eyes squinting like an evil villain. While the goggles ability set on, your wife can't use her Byakugan. Well, try them on, you'll see, Orochimaru said. Whatever he thought of them, Naruto thought that this was suspicious. Though they were more intriguing than suspicious, Naruto tried to put on the goggles, still being wary of Orochimaru. He could see only the living room. Though slightly distorted through the glass view, it remained unchanged. Nothing happened, Naruto said. Well, there's a lever on the frame. Pull it, Orochimaru replied, pulling on the small lever on the side of the lens. Instantly, his visibility was thrown into a kaleidoscope-like sight. Whoa, Naruto said. This is not a kaleidoscope. He was back to the familiar living room scene, but he could see everything. The sink across from him on the counter, the plates and the mugs in the cupboard, the mosquito behind the cushion placed on the sofa, Himawari's every movement as her hand sits on the carpet and the other hand draws in her sketchbook, and even the pages one by one in the sketchbook. His eyes no longer able to bear the sight, Naruto pushed the goggles up on his forehead. What was that? I had awesome eyesight, but I could see everything behind me, Naruto said. Your eyes can't keep up with your brain still processing. You need to practice to use them. I need to practice, Naruto said. Orochimaru's intentions dawned on Naruto. End quote. So outside of that small little bit of what can be construed as shade where he says your brain's still processing, I like how for a moment Naruto's like a kid in a candy store. He's like, yo, this is so cool right here. So first and foremost though, that was one hell of a deep cut of an Easter egg. If you're a Naruto fan and you're like a hardcore Naruto fan, you know exactly what I'm getting at. So this is Hokage Naruto wearing goggles, fam. The last time we saw Naruto wearing goggles was when he was this derpy academy student that nobody liked. That is such a deep cut right there, which I love because this is something that, again, only a hardcore Naruto fan of the series would think to write this scene in here where Naruto as Hokage, who's beloved by everybody inside the village, is wearing goggles for the first time since everybody in the village hated him. I love that right there, seeing how all that came full circle. Now, what's also fascinating right here about this scene is that we're seeing the early fruits of the research that was done when Kakashi first became a Hokage. So in those early years, you had a few stragglers who were loyal to Danzo who had gone to the Valley of the End where Naruto and Sasuke bled out and they took the DNA left behind trying to recreate the power of the Nine Tails inside of Naruto and the power of Sasuke's Sharingan, which I covered in my video Sakura's Deadliest Battle, and my other video, The Tailed Beast Drug Explained, and my other video, The Rise of Scientific Ninja Weapon Tech, which I recommend checking out any one of those videos if you want more detailed information. Even after that research was shut down, however, the concept of science being able to obtain the powers of the kekkei genkai, that door had been kicked open when Kakashi was Hokage, which is why people like Amato were able to give Delta those eye beams for a dojutsu that absorb chakra and it destroys chakra on a cellular level, which is why a Jinchuriki can't regenerate once Delta hits her with those beams. Orochimaru, with this one invention where he was able to transfer the powers of the Byakugan from one Byakugan user to a non-hyuga, showed that just with mere scraps of the data from Katasuke's research, he can make tools that rival even the mad scientist Amato, whose ninja tech far exceeds anything Konoha's ever created. Naruto got the opportunity to use the Byakugan and was given the challenge of training his body to begin to handle the Byakugan, and we saw firsthand what it's like for someone to use them for the first time. Again, this shouldn't feel like an ass pull. This is the same guy who made Mangekyo Sharingans for the Shin clones, so it's merely an advance in what we've seen Orochimaru already do. But Naruto rightfully comes to the conclusion that in the wrong hands, this is a weapon, which goes back to something that we see from Naruto later on in the timeline, where during the Vessel arc, he tests out the bionic ninja tech arm that Katasuke made for him that absorbs chakra. Naruto himself wasn't fully fond of the balance of using ninja tech alongside ninjutsu. He knew it was something that needed to happen, but he was still testing out the parameters. And with something like this that can transfer kekkei genkai powers, it worries him, even though he knows it's not something that is going to be pushed off. It's going to inevitably come once science evolves. So my question to you guys is, on a scale from 1 to 10, how dangerous would Naruto be if he had a Byakugan? While you think that over, consider watching these other videos you see on the screen right now.